Hello readers! If you're a mood reader just like me, stick around and I'll give you some options for your Reading Rush TBR. It's time for the Reading Rush, which was formerly known as BookTube-A-Thon. In an effort to be more inclusive to readers, bookstagrammers, book bloggers, not just booktubers, BookTube-A-Thon is now the Reading Rush. The Reading Rush begins July 22nd and goes until the 28th. There's an official website where you can sign up and have your own profile and keep track of the things that you're reading. There's a forum, there will be badges, and the website has information where you can find different read-in locations across the globe. I'll link to my profile in case you'd like to add me as a friend, and I'll also be sure to link to the Reading Rush social media channels. Yes, mood readers and options. I have them for you. I've selected 5 books for each prompt, and many of the books will fit multiple prompts.
The first challenge is a book with purple on the cover. It can be any shade of purple that you like. It can be a bluish purple, it could be a pinkish purple, it could be a reddish purple. It can even be the word purple. For this, I've selected The Sun is Also a Star by Nicola Yoon, and it works for having a title that's 5 words or longer, and it's also been adapted to screen. Next, we have Arusha and the End of Time by Roshani Chokshi, and this is also a title that is 5 words or more. The Heart of Iron by Ashley Poston. This might also work as a non-human character. I'm not sure. You may want to double check that though. Wild Beauty by Anne-Marie McLemore. I believe this has lush gardens and magical realism and folklore and romance. The Smell of Other People's Houses by Bonnie Sue Hitchcock. This takes place in Alaska and also works for an author's first book. The second challenge is to read a book in the same spot the entire time. So that whole book, you read in that one spot. I don't know what book I'm going to read for this, and I'm not entirely sure which spot, but I do have a few options. One is my bedroom, the next is my living room, and the last is my reading room. Challenge number 3 is to read a book that you meant to read last year. For this, I've selected Stalking Jack the Ripper by Carrie Maniscalco. I also have Thunderhead by Neil Shusterman. Spoilers, I've actually already read that this week, but maybe you haven't. Then we have Down and Across by Arvin Ahmadi, and I believe the main character has a dream of creating crossword puzzles. I'm honestly not sure how I haven't read this yet because I normally devour Colleen Hoover books as soon as they come out, but this one released last year and it's called Verity, and it's a romance thriller. Interestingly, this book not only got a new cover but a new title as well. It's now called Prince Charming, but I do have the original Royals here by Rachel Hawkins. Challenge number 4 is to read an author's first book. First, I have Something Strange and Deadly by Susan Dennard, and there is a necromancer, and the main character, Eleanor, enlists to help the spirit hunters to save the city from supernatural forces. It's steampunk, there's Victorian fashion, there's humor and horror and romance. Then we have Dear Rachel Maddow by Adrienne Kistner, where a high school girl deals with school politics and life after her brother's death by drafting emails to MSNBC's host Rachel Maddow. Next we have Heretics Anonymous by Katie Henry, and there is a character that's an atheist and gets put in a strict Catholic school, so this is described as The Breakfast Club meets Saved. I actually prefer to go into my books blind, but more specifically Colleen Hoover books blind, though I do recall Slammed being about slam poetry, so there's that. Next we have Warm Bodies by Isaac Marion, and this also works for the challenge where you have to read a book and watch the adaptation. And it isn't just a zombie romance, it's so much more. Challenge number 5 is read a book featuring a non-human character. I'm so excited to be able to continue with Saga Book 3, and this is a graphic novel about 2 soldiers from opposite sides of a never-ending galactic war falling in love. Next is And the Ocean Was Our Sky by Patrick Ness, and I believe this is a Moby Dick retelling from the perspective of the whale. A Dog's Purpose by W. Bruce Cameron may not be for everyone, as in this story, the dog is reincarnated multiple times. However, it is worth noting that this also works for the challenge of reading the book and watching the adaptation. Strange Practice by Vivian Shaw is a sci-fi fantasy where Greta Helsing is doctor to the undead. Since we had a dog book, might as well throw in a cat book with The Traveling Cat Chronicles by Hiro Arikawa. This book is also small and not very long, so it makes it a good option for a readathon. Challenge number 6 is to pick a book with 5 or more words in the title. In The Astonishing Color of After by Emily X. R. Pan, the main character's mom has passed away and she believes that her mom has been reincarnated into a bird. This book also has purple on the cover and is the author's debut. Next we have Sal and Gabby Break the Universe, which is a Cuban Own Voices story by Carlos Hernandez. It's a Rick Riordan Presents middle grade book that also has purple on the cover. Next up we have To All the Boys I've Loved Before by Jenny Han, which is a young adult romance with a fake dating trope. It also works for the challenge where you read the book and then watch the movie adaptation. Then we have The Bear and the Nightingale by Catherine Arden. This is the first book in a trilogy, which I believe is inspired by a Russian fairy tale. It also works for the challenge of reading an author's first book. In My So-Called Perfect Life by Sophie Kinsella, it's a witty novel about social media and the stories we tell ourselves. It involves Instagram, and I've been really excited to dive into this one. Challenge number 7 is to read and watch a book to movie adaptation. For this, I could read The Darkest Minds by Alexandra Bracken, which is a dystopian science fiction thriller, and it is about teenagers who are on the run from the government after mysteriously obtaining superpowers. Next, we have The Miseducation of Cameron Post by Emily M. Danforth, about a teenage girl that gets sent to conversion therapy. Then we have The Circle by Dave Eggers, where May joins a groundbreaking experiment that pushes the boundaries of privacy, ethics, and personal freedom. Simon vs. the Homo Sapiens Agenda by Becky Albertalli is a gay romance coming-of-age story. It also works for 2 other challenges, one being reading an author's first book and having a title with 5 or more words. Lastly, I have Inception, the shooting script by Christopher Nolan. Inception is actually one of my favorite movies, and the shooting script isn't going to be very hard to read, so I look forward to tackling those this week. That's a lot of books, I know. Chances are I won't be able to read more than 2 this week, but like I said in the beginning, I really do like to have options because I am somewhat of a moody reader. And from experience, I know that every time I've created like a very specific TBR, I usually read like nothing on it. If you like this video, share it with a friend. Be sure to subscribe and don't forget to hit the bell to be notified when I upload new videos. Thanks for watching and see you next time.